Hello, and welcome to our discussion today on Tethered Closures. My name is Michael White. I am the Director of Business Development for Closures here at Husky. I've divided our discussion today into 5 different areas. I want to start by giving you a brief overview of the EU legislation, talk a bit about shell locking, then get into the portfolio discussion, both tethered and non-tethered, and then wrap up with a discussion around the value proposition that our offering provides. So let's start discussing quickly about the European strategy for single-use plastics. So the EU passed legislation just over 2 years ago, and it's a very comprehensive piece of legislation that targets the banning of certain specific single-use plastic items like cutlery, straws, stir sticks, requiring the increasing use of recycled content in other plastic products. But for the purposes of the discussion today, we really want to focus on the tethering aspect. And what's important is if you're a brand and you're selling your product into the EU and it's in a single-use plastic container of 3 liters or less, you will need to ensure that by July of 2024, your closure is actually tethered to the neck finish. So we think, why is that important? We think it's really the first domino to fall. We think that you're going to start to see this is providing energy for other nations, other jurisdictions to start to pass similar legislation. Here in Canada, they're looking at defining criteria for single-use plastic legislation as well. And I know in Australia 2 months ago in early March, they passed legislation for single-use plastic in the state of South Australia. So one state within the country that targets single-use plastic as well. So that's why we feel it's important. However, we see it as an opportunity, especially as a brand owner. Why? One, it helps you promote the sustainability message. Depending upon the tethering solution you use, it can help promote differentiation, premium positioning of your product. And finally, depending again upon the tethering system you use, it's a way to really promote and provide storytelling to your product because you're really complying or helping with the natural environment by promoting sustainability. It gives you another opportunity as a brand owner to provide a storytelling opportunity to say, hey, we are a sustainable brand. Look at what we're doing on the closure side of things to help reduce litter. Our closures, on all of our products, are tethered to the bottle to promote recycling. So we really see it as an opportunity. So I mentioned in the intro slide about shell locking, and really, what do I mean by that? It's when you unscrew the closure, you can actually lock the shell in place. So it's actually physically positioned in a specific state, so that when you go to drink from it or pour the contents, the closure isn't flapping around. It's actually locked in position where it remains until the user manipulates it to reclose the package. The tethering mechanism that we use has feedback to the consumer, so you have that tactile response. You feel it in your fingertip when you're locking it in place. You hear the click, and really that helps you when we look at other options available in the market. Really, ours is a true differentiator. So it promotes that usability and that whole consumer experience by enhancing your brand overall, your brand design. So when we looked at designing the optimal tethering solution, we really started with the consumer and really the whole consumer aspect. And where does that start? From first sight, as it sits on the store shelf, you want something that actually enhances the brand image, not something that is visually unappealing. You want something that really contributes to that brand image that the brand has worked so hard to achieve. On the opening, you want to make sure that there's sufficient opening torque, that all the bridges break. It's a pleasant experience. It isn't something else that detracts from that whole opening experience. Securing the closure in place, we spoke about that and the importance. Drinking and pouring from the closure, you don't want it hitting you in the face or detracting that way. And then from the reclosing point of view, that it's very intuitive and very easy as well. And then the process repeats itself with the reopening, and then at end of life, obviously, that the closure remains affixed to the neck finish itself. So we have a dynamic portfolio, and by dynamic, I mean as new neck finishes are introduced to the market, other ones are retired or become less popular. We tailor our portfolio offering to suit that industry standard neck finish approach. So looking at the water side, so this is all water specific closures. We really focused on, in Europe to start, the most popular neck finishes like the 2925, the 3025. On the CSD, the carbonated soft drink side, the 1881s, two different options depending upon the support ledge diameter. And then on the 2622, two different options as well, depending upon what kind of tethering system you wish to pursue. And then finally, on the juices, sport drinks, and teas, we have a 38 millimeter as well. Again, it's dynamic, and we're expanding this portfolio out as time progresses. So a lot of our competitors claim that they have an intuitive design, but as you can see from this animation, it really isn't the case. So here's an example of a competitive offering where they say, okay, they make use of these arms and they say, yeah, it locks in place. Really what they're relying on is you to push the closure over and rely on the plastic deformation, that it doesn't return back to its original position, to actually relying on it to lock in place. There's no real active locking mechanism in place. So that can actually just, apologize there, just go back. You can see here, it's just you're trying to push it over and then it closes back in place. You have to manipulate it and screw it back on. Mind you, it complies with the law, but from an intuitive point of view, it's not the best solution. This is our solution here. You can see it makes use of these arms that actually help to lock the shell in place, they're in tension, and then you have your tab here that actually acts in compression against the flap. So two different approaches, both satisfy the law. Now we've taken it one step further. When we look at lightweight water necks, short neck heights, where you have break and leak requirements, where you have extended plug seal lengths. Looking at this design here, you can see in section here, as you go to close, you can see now there's interference with the neck finish and the plug seal. No big deal. It requires a little bit of manipulation on behalf of the consumer. However, we said, how can we make this more intuitive, even more so than it is? So we still have the locking capability in place, but you see here we incorporated this cam. So as it makes contact, it simply just requires the user to continue pushing the closure, and it perfectly aligns with the neck finish itself. So it's those little details that help you enhance the user experience, and you can see it here. So in summary, on the value proposition for a tethering solution, I spoke around the importance of locking from a usability point of view. Features like the reclosing feature to help make it intuitive. We really feel that features like that help to enhance the brand. Obviously, all of our designs are weight neutral. You don't want to introduce something that adds additional weight, as it is a sustainability initiative. All of them comply with the legislation. No compromise in performance. So in terms of like CO2 retention, there's no compromise there. So same performance as non-tethered. Molded in bridge, really with those sophisticated hinge design that we incorporate. We feel that the molded in bridge approach is the most effective, no downstream requirements. Once the mold opens, the part's ejected, it's ready for the filling line. And I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of widespread interest beyond Europe, and we really feel that you're going to start to see this tethering initiative come into other areas of the other geographies as well. So 2 examples ready now is our 2925 premium tether with or without the reclosing feature. You can see the differences in weight, 1.2 gram versus the 1.05. Both of them work very well. It's just if you want that added intuitiveness, you can opt to include the reclosing feature as well. And this is also compatible with the lightweight neck finish and satisfies a number of the OEM brand requirements. The closure along the bottom fits the exact same neck. It just has a slightly higher height of an additional 3 millimeters, which provides a little bit extra grip zone. So it's the same height as a 3025. So again, this is targeting more premium designs to help elevate the brand depending upon your brand positioning in the market. An example now in our non-tethered design, we offer a 2925 extra tall. So this fits the settee finish. You can see the comparisons here in weight on neck, over 1.2 grams in weight savings. Same grip zone, so no compromise, but significant weight savings. Both have an opening of 25 millimeters, so no loss in drinking experience. And then this is really a whole family approach. Depending upon your brand positioning and whether it's more of a commodity or a more premium type product, you can choose to go with a different design with a different height, but it fits the exact same neck finish. Just the weight savings are more significant as you drop down in height, obviously, from 1.75 gram on our 3025 down to 1.15. So a 0.6 weight savings on the closure itself, coupled with a 1.2 gram, you're almost looking at a full 2 grams of weight savings, 1.88 grams to be in fact, and it's about 35% weight savings. So no compromise in drinking experience. If looking at it, to give you an example on weight savings, if we were to compare the 3025 versus the 2925 1.15 gram, producing 100 million bottles a year, using an assumption of $1.37 per kilogram of PET. On the neck alone, or the PET weight savings on the preform would be to the tune of about $175,000 a year, with no compromise really in drinking experience. Again, we have a lightweight option as well on our 3025, so significant industry-leading weight at 1.48 or 1.52. Samples available for your approval already. So I want to thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.